And first, this morning, the scheme to take down a president finally exposed and accountability begins. A federal grand jury indicted Hillary Clinton lawyer Michael Sussman, who worked at Perkins Coie law firm, with making a false statement to the FBI back in September 2016. The indictment, part of special counsel John Durham's investigation, confirms what this program and my first guest this morning have been saying for 4 years plus, that the made-up story of Russia collusion with Donald Trump was nothing more than a corrupt politician trying to take down her opponent with made-up propaganda. But in this big lie, Hillary's team was also able to ensnare the FBI, among other government agencies, and the media to deceive the American people. Back in February of 2018, Congressman Devin Nunes dropped his famous Nunes report, outlining the FBI's knowledge that the dossier was made up and the surveillance of Trump associates, which took place afterwards, was illegal. Nunes appeared on this program throughout the multi-year Russia hoax and was the first person to warn us that this collusion charge was phony years ago on this program. Who is the mastermind of the plan to insert Donald Trump into Russia meddling, which we know Russia has been meddling for decades?
Well, I think we can say first, let's talk about what we know are facts, what we can say for certain. I think that's helpful. We know the Clinton campaign, number one, so they're aware of a lot of this, right? They're involved in the creation of the dossier. They're hiring Fusion GPS. They hire Christopher Steele. That's a fact. So the Clinton campaign's involved.
Joining me right now is Congressman Devin Nunes, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good to see you, Congressman. You were spot on right there. Thanks for being back with us. What do you say Durham's first indictment, or actually it's the second indictment, tells us about the broader investigation?
Well, this is just a never-ending story that the American people expect Durham to get to the truth, and they expect for DOJ to hold these characters accountable. Because the American people have lost trust in the FBI and the Department of Justice. At least half of the American people have. So this is a critical indictment because for years they've hid under privilege. Oh, these are lawyers, you can't talk to them. I think that's what's taken Durham so long, is just because they've been hiding under, well, if you hire a lawyer, therefore those lawyers can't give up anything. So they used Perkins Coie law firm. Now these two lawyers are gone from Perkins Coie. One has been indicted, one has not. But that's why they were doing this, and it's really wrong. You can't use lawyers just to conduct dirty tricks to dirty up your opponent. And in this case, it went far beyond that, Maria. And I think this is really a test case, or a case study, so to speak, an educational process in how the swamp here really works. You basically create a story out of thin air. You spread it out to your media that you control, and then you begin to feed this story around into the FBI, the DOJ, so it looks like it's real. And that's what's happened here. So I think if you go back and read that 27-page indictment, I would encourage all of your viewers to do it. You will really see how this place works, why it's so wrong, and why it has to stop. Because think of all the lives that have been destroyed in the businesses here. Whether it's the Trump campaign, all the people associated with it. You still have many Americans who have been poisoned by this, who think that Donald Trump had something to do with Russia, when in fact the opposite is true. It was the Democrats in the Clinton campaign and the Bidens who had something to do with Russia.
Yeah, and that's basically what I said to John Podesta years ago when I had him talking about Russia, and I said, look, it was the Democrats that are actually in bed with Russia. But I want to take a look at some of the perpetrators of this lie and what they're doing now, because you have to look at something like a Jake Sullivan tweet and raise your eyebrows. Back in the day, he was among those peddling this lie. Now he is the National Security Advisor of the United States. Look at what Jake Sullivan posted back in 2016, NSA advisor to President This is where they are now. He's the NSA advisor to President Biden. But you have this statement from Jake Sullivan on this report about Alpha Bank. And he says this could be the most direct link yet between Donald Trump and Moscow. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to the Alpha Bank of Russia, the secret hotline he's talking about. I mean, it's just extraordinary to me that here he is peddling this nonsense years ago, and now he is the NSA. Equally stunning is Hillary Clinton's tweet that did not age well. Let's take a look at Hillary Clinton's tweet when back in 2016, and she knew that her foreign policy advisors have come up, and she was paying them to come up with this nonsense about Trump. She tweets out that it's time for Trump to answer questions about Russia. Did she not accept $148 million from a Russian company in the Clinton Foundation? And so she's trying to turn it on Trump. Meanwhile, she accepted all that money?
Well, look, this is why this is a case study in how Washington works. They essentially accuse your opponent of what they're doing. This is typical Marxist tactics, and it's taken over this entire government here. And it's been going on now. This is the fifth year that this has been happening. So this is why we expect Durham to get to the bottom of this. And what I'm concerned about now, Maria, is that if you look at the Department of Justice, if you look at Merrick Garland, who's the Attorney General, look at how many things that have already looked entirely political. If you look at the issue of going to court and arguing that the eviction notices, that's okay, defending what the administration is doing at the border. So my guess is that all these characters who worked in the Obama administration, worked on the Clinton campaign, promoted this nonsense, have to have known that it was nonsense, are now sitting in high positions in the Biden administration. So you have to believe the pressure in this town on the Attorney General is so great to shut Durham down because, look, they're beginning to circle around some very questionable characters. And, you know, look, this guy was promoting this back in 2016. Sullivan, he should have never been put into this position. And when you put people in the positions like this that are completely unqualified, you end up with 13 service members getting killed in Afghanistan because you don't have the propaganda media here to protect you. You don't have the tech companies to protect you. And so you end up with somebody who doesn't belong there, who was likely, it had to be the Biden administration, the White House, who was calling the shots on closing Bagram Air Base, on doing what they did to obfuscate everything and then try to do these what look like now phony drone attacks that end up killing innocent Americans. So people get killed when the wrong people get put in positions of power. That's why, another reason why this is so important.
All right, we want to know what happens next and what you expect from the John Durham investigation. Here's John Solomon on this program, investigative reporter back in January, telling us what he is expecting next from the John Durham investigation. Let's roll John Solomon.
Right now, John Durham looks to be building a small number of indictments focused on the top of the FBI. That's very important, the very top of the leadership of the FBI. That's where he's looking.
So, Devin Nunes, what are you expecting next from John Durham? Was there a statute of limitations that sort of pressured him to get this one indictment out? I know Kevin Kleinsmith got a slap on the wrist, no indictment there, but we've got this first indictment. Where does it lead now?
Yeah, look, what I expect is we've made 14 criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. I expect every one of those to be looked into. For God's sake, the American people, the taxpayers pay for us to do this work. We don't have guns here in Congress. We can't go out and arrest people. All we can do is do an exhaustive investigation, which we've done despite being stonewalled by the Department of Justice and FBI for years. So we've done our job. Now we expect Durham to do his job, which I think he is doing. And like I said, the American people, every Republican senator, every Republican congressman better be saying the same thing when they're having conversations, especially the ones who are in positions of power in this town, to tell Garland, Durham better finish this investigation. And it's for a number of reasons that I've outlined here in the last few minutes.
We are back with Congressman Devin Nunes, who, along with his Republican colleagues in the House Intelligence Committee, sent a letter to President Biden this morning about his COVID origins investigation. Congressman, thanks for being here. Why don't you walk us through this letter? What are you trying to accomplish here with this letter to the president?
Well, it's pretty simple. The American people, and Republicans in Congress at least, expect there to be a whole-of-government approach. We've sent the Biden administration 2 letters previously to this. Finally, this week, we were able to get briefed because Biden instructed the intelligence community to do an assessment. Now what it's clear is that, once again, they're using the intelligence agencies to put a cloud of secrecy over all of this. And quite frankly, with 700,000 Americans dead, this should not be happening. There should be total transparency here. total and complete transparency. Earlier this week, we had numerous questions that were asked by Republican members on the Intelligence Committee, and every member left there with zero confidence that there has actually been a real investigation done here. And look, the easy reason why is that there are numerous Americans who have received grant money. There are scientists who are paid for by the taxpayers, and simple questions were asked. Who did you talk to? And the fact of the matter is, they couldn't answer that, and they refused to answer that. So it looks like there needs to be an entire new report that needs to be written, because Republican members on the committee have basically had enough of this. It just looks like this is another attempt to obfuscate and protect China once again by the Biden administration.
And there was an exclusive, right, and there's an exclusive Wall Street Journal story this morning that COVID-19 panel of scientists investigating the origins of the virus has been disbanded. So the Columbia professor Jeffrey Sachs says he disbanded this task force because he was afraid that there was political implications. We're following that. He says that there were too many links to EcoHealth Alliance. Let me get your take on the overall policy on China out of this administration. We know China's goals. They're using their Belt and Road strategy to ultimately take over America as the #1 superpower. And yet Joe Biden keeps giving them victories. He over the weekend allowed this hostage swap, allowing the CFO of Huawei out of, she was under house arrest in Canada. She's now back in China, swapping for the 2 Canadians that were put in jail in China. Your thoughts on what we're going to see from Joe Biden with regard to China? My sources tell me that there will be legislation soon written about China policy. So far, none of it has any teeth, Congressman.
Well, look, the Biden administration and all the Democrats are always afraid to even dare mention China's name. Even just last week in the United Nations, Joe Biden refused to talk about China when clearly China is trying to overtake the world's largest economy and essentially take control of the world's reserve currency. So they continue to be afraid of them for some reason. What should have been said here is the 2 Canadians that the Canadian government had picked up this Huawei leader. We're holding her for extradition to the United States. The Chinese picked up 2 Canadians for no reason at all. We have no reason why those Canadians were picked up. So what the President of the United States should have been saying is, release the 2 Canadians now. But instead, what do? They negotiate behind the scenes on a Friday night. Once again, there's an exchange, and they hope that the American people won't see how weak this administration really is.
By the way, Congressman, Secretary Mayorkas has admitted on Fox News Sunday that as many as 12,000 out of the 17,000 migrants under that bridge have been released into the country. So he's admitting it, that 12,000 have been released into the country. You've got a disaster in Afghanistan, an incredible, dangerous situation at the open border, and we may very well have another economic disaster this week because the government is running out of money on Thursday. Real quick on this boondoggle and what's most important for you to look at in terms of all of this spending, $5.5 trillion spending plan that Joe Biden is still pushing through despite all of these disasters.
Yeah, and the American people don't even know that this is happening because they marked up all of these bills and passed them here in the dark days of summer in August and September. They marked up a bill yesterday. Most Americans don't even know that that happened. C-SPAN, for a large part, didn't carry a lot of these hearings. So what they're trying to do, they know that this would be wildly unpopular. And we've seen this done before, Maria. Let me just take you quickly back to 2009. Obama came in and said, we have to pass a stimulus. So we gave him $800 billion. I didn't vote for it, but they had $800 billion. Then they used that money to bribe members of Congress, Democratic members of Congress. Remember, it only passed by 1 vote in the House to get Obamacare through. This is on steroids. Biden has $1.9 trillion that they passed supposedly for COVID to bribe these Democratic members who really don't want to vote for it, because this bill makes Obamacare look like nothing. And then don't forget, on top of all that, the taxes, and I know you're going to have Chairman Brady on in just a few moments, but the thing that worries me the most, why would they want to double the size of the IRS and double the number of agents unless they have a plan to finally force the banks to produce every record of every American at all times to the IRS, so that the IRS can go in and try to invade all of Americans to force them to pay more taxes. That's the only possible reason they want to double the size of the IRS.
We'll talk about that with Kevin Brady coming up, because I know that they want all of the surveillance of anything that you withdraw from your account over $600, which is pretty extraordinary. I know that's not in the bill right now, but we're going to talk with Kevin Brady about it. Congressman, thanks very much. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
On all of this. Devin Nunes joining us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.